Book TV attends numerous book fairs and festivals every year to speak with nonfiction authors. Recently, we visited the National Press Club's book fair in Washington and spoke with syndicated radio host Bill Press about his newest release, Trump Must Go.
On your screen is the host of the nationally syndicated Bill Press Show, Bill Press. He's the author of 10 other books. His newest is Trump Must Go, the top 100 reasons to dump Trump and one to keep him. I think you buried the lead. Which is the one? The one we keep?
I don't think there's any reason, actually, but you have to have at least try to be fair to have one. So the one reason that I believe is Mike Pence. As bad as Trump is, I think Mike Pence could be worse because I think he's smarter. He has more friends on Capitol Hill, and he could be more effective in getting things done than Donald Trump has been more effective with Congress. So my personal preference would be to get rid of both of them, but I just warn people, be careful what you ask for, because if we get rid of Trump, we might get stuck with Mike Pence.
Bill Press, you have 99 other reasons.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
And people watching this may say, well, this is just leading into more partisan politics. What would you say to that?
Well, first of all, you should really congratulate me for limiting it to 99 or 100. I mean, it's 100 plus one. I think there are 1,000 reasons I limited it to 100. But I'm a commentator. I make no pretense not to be a partisan commentator. I'm a liberal, a progressive. And so I write a column and I write books that are from a progressive point of view. And I certainly welcome people who disagree to write their own books on the other side. And by the way, there are plenty of those. So I don't feel that I'm dominating the field with my point of view.
You've done this for a long time. Can you put the Trump presidency into a historical context for us?
I honestly, I don't think I'm being too partisan here to say. I think he's the least prepared, the least equipped, the least capable, maybe the most offensive president that we've ever had of all of the 45 rather. Seriously, I think he's done more damage. And I've covered the White House, for like 10 years now that I've been in Washington. I have a great respect for the presidency. I met the first President Bush, the second President Bush. I covered them. I met Ronald Reagan when he was governor of California and president here. I have a lot of respect for the presidency, Republican or Democrat. I regret as an American that I think that Donald Trump has really debased the office of the presidency, and I think we deserve better.
With that said, what does the next president look like, or who does the next president look like? Do they campaign differently? Have we left the mold of what we know as an American president?
I think that's a very good question. I don't think we know. Donald Trump has broken the mold. So it could be somebody else, God forbid, who has little interest in governing and no experience in governing and is there to tear down rather than build up and move us forward, that is there to divide America and not bring America together, which I think is the job of the president. So I think a lot of people, Republicans and Democrats, are worried about that. I would hope that we would go back to a president, Republican or Democrat, in the mold of a George W. Bush or Barack Obama or a Bill Clinton or a George H.W. Bush, who really was trying to do the best that he could to bring the American people together and move this country forward. Donald Trump is just, I would hope, an exception, and we go back to somebody we can all respect and believe in.
You have a daily radio program. You talk to people across the country every day. We talk about hyper-partisan America and the divide. Do you hear that?
Well, I do. I mean, and by the way, I'm a believer in politics. I've been around it a long time. I'm still a believer. I still think it's the way we get things done. It's the way we exercise by our involvement, whether you're a candidate or a volunteer or just a voter. It's the way we exercise our responsibility as citizens. So I believe in the political process. But right now, it's divided as we've never seen it before. And I hope we can pull things back together. But under Donald Trump, it'll never happen.
Let's go back to your book. Can you give me one or two of your top reasons and how they and why and how?
Well, I think I'll name two. I'm a big believer in climate change. I think it is the most serious issue facing the planet. It's our survival as a civilization, and I think pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords is extremely dangerous and very, very unfortunate. Rather than being the leader of the world in climate change, we're now not even part of every other nation on the planet, every other single country but the United States, number one. Number two, I also am very worried about the spread of nuclear weapons and Donald Trump's attempts to restart the nuclear arms race. So I think pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal was the second reason, which means that it basically gives a green light to Iran to join the nuclear club and build nuclear weapons. And then the president has said he wants to start rebuilding more nuclear weapons and cancel arms deals that Ronald Reagan signed with the old Soviet Union, been around that long, and Donald Trump wants to get rid of them. I think if we get back in a nuclear arms race, it's a disaster for the planet. So, to me, those two reasons alone, you don't need 100. You just need those two.
Bill, some people have pointed to the Trump election win as a sign of political disengagement, that people hadn't been coming out to the polls. They talk about maybe a multi-party system, making Election Day a national holiday. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think we should be doing everything we can to encourage people to vote and to make it easier for people to vote. It may be naive. My belief is the more people who vote, the better government we have, the better leaders we have. Unfortunately, the Republican Party is going in just the opposite direction. And in many, many ways, in many states, they are trying to make it more difficult for people to vote by getting rid of early voting or making it shorter or reducing the number of polling places. Or, by the way, as a country, why do we vote on Tuesday? I mean, we could make Tuesday a national holiday. Or vote on the weekend, vote on Sunday. It doesn't have to be two, it should not be two. A lot of people just can't get there to vote. So I think that our goal ought to be, I would even go so far as Australia to say if you don't vote, you have to pay a fine. Brazil, it's mandatory voting. Now that may be extreme, but short of that, we should do everything, I believe, to make it possible for people to vote, easier for people to vote.
Bill Press, you can hear his radio show Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m., is that correct?
7 to 9 a.m., BillPressShow.com.
He's the author of Trump Must Go, the top 100 reasons to dump Trump and one to keep him. Thanks so much.
All right. Go C-SPAN. Thank you.
Keep an eye out for more interviews from the National Press Club's book fair to air in the near future. You can also watch them and any of our programs in their entirety at booktv.org. Type the author's name in the search bar at the top of the page.